Men of Reddit, what do you dislike about today's dating culture? People answering their own questions with the problem before they ask them and not seeing the problem. I'm uncomfortable everywhere, so I don't like bars, clubs, alcohol, music, crowds, public venues, coffee shops, restaurants. All I want to do is cling to the safety of my apartment and not let anyone else in it. Why can't I meet women? I'm an out-of-shape loudmouth with a you have to pay for all the dates and initiate all the post-date contact or you get ghosted rule who refuses to put out until after I have secured a sexually exclusive commitment under my terms. Why aren't rich, young, fit, hypermasculine men throwing themselves at me every day in here? A few things. 1. I don't like how a fat guy can't pursue a skinny woman. People will say, oh, he's a creep, he's a loser, etc. But women who are fat, when they get rejection by a skinny guy, people will say, don't worry queen, you deserve better, blah blah. Like what happened to having standards as a man anymore? 2. If you don't like somebody, you're a douche. Example, I don't like fat woman, nor do I like trans woman, but I get called in all the time for putting that out there. I don't want my woman with a. That's what I'm into. I think a lot of heterosexual men would agree with me. I feel like I'm always carrying a convo, even though I never like or write to someone first on the app because I'm so used to doing the heavy lifting in meeting and conversing. A lot of people think they're cool by showing lack of enthusiasm and abbreviating their texts drastically to you. It just turns me off, and then they ask me where I went a few days later. Well, I don't want to talk to someone that sounds stupid and uninterested. As somebody who has taken advantage of these things, dating apps and hookup culture, seconded by the fact that I'm not comfortable in approaching anyone, anywhere. I hate making anyone, including women I'm attracted to, uncomfortable that and so many people pretend to be over their ex, yesterday. And, if you look at current dating culture in America, everyone is a salesman, about the most checklist bull, is gross. Real men like the woman that wants them. I don't know how else to put it. And patient men will stay with the woman that is patient with them, forever. How flaky women can be, I'm sure guys are too. Lots of times you match with them, text with them, they agree to go out on a date, and they either not show up, bail on you and simply ghost you. If you don't want to go out at all, don't accept the invitation, that's fine. It's worse showing up somewhere, ask for a table for two, and sit there waiting for you to not come. If you agree and can't make it, at least say something beforehand. You're Elon Musk, you just bought Reddit. Rank all the accounts based on karma. Ban the bottom 50%. Only the karma farmers get to remain. Rename it Breadit, make the logo that cat with bread round its face and only allow photos of cats with bread. You can get dark mode with forest green, but it's $12 mo. No more mods, you create a page, you run that page. All throwaways must be a new account with a Tesla.com temporary email account. The account is $15 WK and you have to go through a painfully complex unsubscribe process to delete the account. No more anonymity, profile pictures must be used, and pass a facial detection filter. Ban all NSFW content, unless it features a Musk branded product. Limit the number of posts and comments you can make in a day. Subscribe to Reddit Premium for unlimited posts and comments. Making posts uses up 1k karma, and you can buy 5k karma for the cheap price of $14.99 if you don't feel like grinding comment karma. What is the craziest thing you ever done in your life? Don't remember the follow-up, but think I argued with my brother because I drove my motorcycle home and was pretty fucked up on pills and stuff. Didn't think much of it, sat down to make a J when suddenly the police stepped into my room. All is pretty vague from that point, but I'd manage escaping by wrestling my way trough the 3 cops into that room and flew down some stairs to get to my bike. Got some consciousnesses I think when I spotted a familiar car and it was my girlfriend. Pulled down the main road and parked by her side and literally forgot the police behind. Eventually when they was in sight and I got ready to go, she and I had a final stare. It lasted until they had me. A college in my hometown hosts a pretty major distance runners summer camp. In high school me and my friends would walk around campus at night throwing water balloons through all the open dorm windows since they didn't have AC. I've always wanted to meet someone who was inside those dorms, so if this sounds familiar let me know. One year the college hosted another college's football team for their summer workouts, so we decided to water balloon them too. They did not take it as lightly as the cross-country runners and came storming out of the dorm after us. Luckily we knew this random pedestrian bridge that connected to a residential neighborhood and escaped, but it was scary as running away and seeing them all chasing us. Woke up one morning and took a tab of acid. Walked out to the beach and headed south, 7 miles down to my friend's house. It was a really interesting day. Enjoyed checking out the tidal pools along the way. I knew there was a nude beach on the way. What I didn't know was the first part of that was a gay area, which caught me off guard at first, but it was cool. I'm sure some people can figure out where I was. I was deployed to Australia, went out in town on a Friday night with some friends to get wasted, got wasted, blacked out and I was told I fought 2 people, got back on base right before curfew, fought people at the gate and then started running, got lost on this Australian army base and climbed the fence into one of their motor pools, ripped up all my clothes on the barbed wire, got a gnarly scar on my chest now, walked around this motor pool for like 3-ish hours and sobered up a tad, lost my phone so I couldn't call anyone. Finally escaped the motor pool and was walking down a road when a van showed up and the people looking for me all hopped out and threw my in there. Good times. What don't you like about love making? Nothing. If I don't like something I don't do it. I'm sad that so many posters are doing so many painful things that they don't enjoy or are causing health issues. I'm 51 and have no libido anymore and I couldn't be happier. After 30 years of mostly good I'm happy to stop now that my body doesn't want to anymore. This is the natural order of things. I don't need lubricant or anything else to prolong my life. Prolonging my life is for the benefit of the male population and not mine. This is why any issue with is automatically medicalized. It's so liberating to not have to be in a relationship or have or do anything I can't be bothered to do. The mental load. I wrote and deleted a 5-paragraph essay, but it really comes down to mental load. I love my family, but taking on 85% of the responsibility has turned me into such an anxious person with very little capacity for fun or spontaneity. My partner is loving, caring, amazing in bed, hilarious, just great company. But he's incredibly irresponsible and avoidant. I'm so burnt out for being the bad cop parent, schedule coordinator, maid, life coach. I feel like a caseworker, not a partner. I feel like I have nothing left to give at the end of the day and like we're still failing to meet basic needs. I have to tell him to be responsible. So I'm responsible for him being responsible? Wonder why I'm too stressed for. They not listen to music lyrics. Why does this have to be a disorder to be diagnosed? Just enjoy your music. If you ignore the lyrics, then just go forth and ignore the lyrics. Half the time, even if you can make them out, lyrics don't make sense anyway. Some people ignore the sound of the bass. The bass, to them, is just an instrument playing in the background, but it's nothing worth diagnosing as a disorder. And quad. Maybe you hear the lyrics the same way they hear the bass line. It all depends on what layer of the music you're focusing on. Just enjoy your music. Whatever that means to you is the way you should do it. I do listen to them. In fact, when they're present it's what I focus on the most, probably because I prefer purely instrumental music, but I think how you perceive them as an instrument is fascinating. Most commercial songs I've heard recently are just very simple riffs and jingles on repeat with the voice doing most of the legwork, which I assume is the formula for doing commercial songs since it's a trend I've noticed for most of them. So I find it super interesting how one can zone out what's arguably their most prominent element or allowing it to merge with everything else. Most other comments about this are really interesting too. Thanks for this post. I love discussions about music. I don't, but everyone else around me does, and no album names, but I just like whatever melody and rhythm that pleases my ears. I usually listen to certain genres depending on the task. I listen to electronic pop in the morning to get my brain waves going for work, WFH. When I drive it's usually alternative rock or current pop hits. At the gym it is heavy EDM, gangster rap, or death metal. The only lyrics I know are usually when songs are catchy and in a movie or something like Hold Me Closer, Tiny Dancer / Tony Danza. And I'll say it over and over again, or we didn't start the fire, it was always burning. Fill in the blank with whatever incoherent mumbo jumbo and quat. I do the same. At first I thought it was because English is not my first language and I've been listening to songs in English well before I started learning it. But I realized it happens in my native language too. Sometimes I can even memorize the lyrics, but I need to either read them or stop to think about them to actually make sense of the meaning of the song.